Hello, welcome to our virtual open house. I'm Chris Post, Boys Latin's headmaster. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We know that today's event looks a little different, but we hope that by spending some time together, you'll begin to experience the heart and soul of our school, a school that we love, and I think that you might too. And as we begin, I'd like to start with the end in mind. I'd like to set the stage for a moment that might be closer than others, but still seems so far, far away. You see, on the first Saturday of June, in your son's senior year, we'll gather together in front of Williams Hall, our iconic main building on campus. Your son and his classmates will have proceeded out of our alumni house to take their places in front of their families and loved ones and our faculty. Faculty who've known them for 4 years, for 7 years, or in many cases, for their entire school lives. And before the class processes out, I'll remind our seniors of our motto, Esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem. Those words will be so familiar to your son because our motto frames all that we do. I'll ask our seniors one last question. Is the man you saw in the mirror this morning the man that you want to be? You see, our school's singular focus echoes your deepest desires as parents. Here at Boys Latin, we care most of all what kind of man your son will be. Our graduation is a metaphor for our mission, our values, and our institutional purpose. Unlike so many other schools, there are no visiting dignitaries or outside graduation speakers, no long-winded heads of school giving forgettable talks. Instead, at our commencement, we celebrate the journey that each graduate has walked here on Lake Avenue. As each student's name is called, as your son's name is called, he'll stand next to me as he receives his diploma. I'll share a comment about each graduate that I've written with my colleagues, a comment that reflects who your son is and who he aspires to be. Your son will hear the voice of this community reflected back to him. Advisors, teachers, and coaches, teachers from his first days on campus to his final moments as a student here at Boys Latin. In his graduation, we affirm who your son is, his good works, his outstanding effort, the difference he's made in our lives, and most especially, the promise of how he'll make his mark on this world. Why do we do this? Because here at Boys Latin, we're a small school by design, and we leverage the power of our small community. Here, boys are challenged to be multidimensional, not just an artist or a scholar or an athlete. He can be all three and so much more. Unlike larger schools where students compete for limited spots on teams or in the play or within student government, here at Boys Latin, we create space, lots of space, for boys to explore new talents, for boys to pursue their interests, space in which many boys can lead rather than just a few. Why do we do this? Because when your son comes to Boys Latin, he'll be known for who he is today and all he'll be tomorrow, and he'll build confidence. Teachers will get to know him really well. They'll learn what drives him, what books he loves, what his favorite part of the school day is. And your son will be supported not only by faculty, but by his peers. He'll develop lifelong friendships, and he'll discover what community means and have the skills to build it. Because when your son comes to Boys Latin, he'll be challenged to his fullest potential. He'll be encouraged to reach for ever higher standards so he can learn and earn the results of hard work. Our experiential hands-on approach to learning will have him up and moving, collaborating on teams, and applying critical thinking skills to real-world problems. Whether he's working to build a championship-winning robot, collaborating on a multivariate calculus problem, or debating current events, he'll be building the skills that he needs to be successful, not just in college, but in life beyond. When your son comes to Boys Latin, character education will be perhaps the most important part of his education. Guided by timeless values, we're firmly focused on helping each boy hone his character. We believe that the education of boys and the formation of young men has never been more important than it is today. That's why our core values, courage, compassion, and integrity, are woven into everything that we do. Every aspect of school life reflects them. So whether our boys are working on friendships while working on math problems, or earning respect regardless of whether they earn or win, they're always learning and earning the rewards of doing what's difficult and what's right. I've worked for more than 25 years in boys' schools, and I've been fortunate to serve as Boys Latin's headmaster for the past 13 years. In all of these experiences, I have to tell you, our faculty is second to none. We're careful to shape a faculty of talented teachers, yes, experts in their areas and fields of study, but more importantly, these are educators who choose to come to Boys Latin because of our shared beliefs in the value of enduring personal relationships. Our faculty understand how boys learn best, and they'll work tirelessly with your son as mentors and advisors, helping him create a vision for himself, a vision that helps him explore his fullest potential, a vision that helps him form resolutions about how to be better, a vision of what it looks like for him to be a man fully alive. As a leader in boys' education, Boys Latin doesn't insist on a narrow or particular understanding of what student success looks like. Boys in our schools don't need to follow any existing order to fit in. Scholars and artists, musicians and athletes all find it the perfect environment to explore, to stretch, and to grow. There's no one size fits all here, because nearly 2 centuries of innovation in all boys education has taught us what it takes to help boys become men of courage, of compassion, and most importantly, men of character. And we think the results speak for themselves. Our graduates attend Ivy League institutions, small liberal arts colleges, and large research universities. They study at art schools and music conservatories. They're collegiate athletes in a variety of sports. They prepare to serve our country in the nation's service academies. There's no limit to where your son can go. Boys Latin students become successful engineers and journalists, entrepreneurs and professionals, and so much more. But the true mark of a Laker is that he's simply himself, confident in who he is and ready to make a difference. What's best for boys is always at the center of all of our decisions. And that philosophy holds true, especially in the most challenging of times. As we plan for the 2020-2021 academic year, we held fast to our goal of bringing as many students back to campus as safely as possible. We spent many long hours in the spring and summer planning and preparing our campus. We analyzed every traditional classroom space and plenty of non-traditional academic spaces to understand where our optimal student capacity could be. We rearranged desks and classroom layouts to de-densify spaces, and we added tents and modulars and other outdoor learning spaces to increase our flexibility. Of course, we enhanced our cleaning protocols to keep our community safe and installed an integrated 2-camera system in every classroom to accommodate those students who might be learning virtually. We created schedules and traffic patterns to allow for frequent hand washing and physical distance, and of course required the wearing of masks for all community members. We did all this because we know it's what's best for our boys. In early September, our youngest learners returned to in-person learning 5 days a week, while our middle and upper school students began learning in a hybrid model, a couple of days in person on campus and a few days a week virtually. This all culminates in the return of our entire student body to campus and could not have happened without the extraordinary efforts and dedication of our faculty and the support of our families, illustrating that we're one Boys Latin, one BL. And while one BL has become a bit of a catchphrase during this time, our tight-knit community has been the heart and soul of Boys Latin since our founding in 1844. And you join us at an incredibly exciting moment in our school's history. In September of 2021, we'll open up our upper school to boarding students from across the country and around the world. We recently acquired property to the west of our lower and middle schools, and we're renovating facilities to create a state-of-the-art dormitory. And because this is designed from the ground up, our program incorporates the latest innovations in both residential life and all boys education. The property on our western campus, nearly 30 acres of untouched woodlands, provides younger students limitless opportunities to explore nature, use their imaginations, and maybe get a little muddy tromping through the wood, while older students can engage in environmental studies and outdoor education. Our goal is really quite simple, and we think it's your goal too. Grounded in our motto, Esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem, our single pursuit is to help your son become his best, most authentic self. There are over 600 different stories written here at Boys Latin every day, and we know that your son's story could be as well. We're so grateful for your time with us, and we're excited to share our school with you. For the next portion of our program, I'll be joined by 4 members of our senior class in a discussion about their experiences and life here on Lake Avenue. I look forward to engaging with you in the chat and also in the live sessions to follow. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to welcome you to our student panel here at Boys Latin. I'm pleased to introduce 4 of our seniors who will each share a little bit about themselves as they answer several really tough and probing questions. So first, Aiden Silverman, would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Aiden Silverman. I came to BL in kindergarten, and I'm currently a senior, so I've been here for 13 years. I play soccer and lacrosse, and some clubs that I participate in include One Love Club that I'm the president of, the math team, Laker Buddies, and the economics club.
Hi, everybody. I'm AJ Hernandez. I'm a senior at Boys Latin this year, and I've been here since 7th grade. Like playing football and lacrosse here, and I'm also involved in the diversity club and economics club.
Hi, my name is Vinny Arthur. I'm a senior here at BL. I first started Boys Latin my 9th grade year. I play football, baseball. I'm a part of the theater program. I do the music program here, and I'm also part of the robotics team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Elliott, and I'm also a senior here at the Boys Latin School of Maryland. I'm this year's student body president, and some clubs that I'm involved in are Diversity Club, Black Awareness Club, Common Ground Club, and just like Vinny, I'm also part of the theater arts program here.
Thank you, fellas, and thank you for joining us today. So it's a pleasure to have the 4 of you with me as we talk about Boys Latin, and really it's as you talk about your experiences here as a student to give prospective students and families a sense of what it's like to be a Laker. So we spend a lot of time talking about how special and unique our community is. Aiden, would you begin reflecting on what are the things that make Boys Latin so special?
For me, I think that one of the main reasons why I chose to come to Boys Latin in lower school was just how much the teachers care about their students. Right from kindergarten, the connection not only from the teacher and the student, but student to student is unlike anything I've ever seen before. The teachers genuinely care about us. They want us to succeed in life. And that just was the main factor why I chose to come here. And one example of that was one day in 2nd grade, my math teacher decided to move me up to an advanced math course. And I really didn't think I could handle the course, but I ended up doing very well in the course. So for me, that teacher-student relationship is so special.
That's great. Thank you, Aiden. Jonathan, how about you? What is it that makes Boys Latin so special or unique in your mind?
One aspect that I think makes BL a very special place is the fact that we are all very connected within the proximity that we are. I think it's really important to note that our lower school, middle school, and upper school campuses are all within a very close proximity of one another, which makes it very easy for all of us to stay connected to one another. So there's not much distance between us, which makes it really easy for us to engage with one another and, you know, create community events and community-based things that we can do all together as one.
Thanks, Jonathan. I think one of the things you spoke about is how we're connected, even though we're on both sides of Lake Avenue. The bridge is not just a physical connection, but also a metaphorical connection, K to 12 as one school. Vinny, how about you? What do you think makes Boys Latin so special and unique?
For me, I think it's the small school feel and the opportunities that we can take. My sophomore year, I was starting varsity football for the first time, and after practice, I would run off the field, and I had the lead in the school play, so I had to go to theater practice. And any other school, I don't think you'd be able to do that. So just the opportunity to be involved in so many things is to me the most special thing about BL.
Sounds like you did more in your sophomore fall than most people might do in their entire high school careers. Thanks, Vinny. All right, AJ, rounding us out.
Awesome. Yeah, I think for myself and a bunch of the other boys here, few of us have a unique and cool experience with living kind of far away. I live about an hour away from Boys Latin, and it really does feel like my home away from home. I think that's what makes it so special to me is I come here and I'm surrounded by people who love and care about me as long as I'm with people that I love and care about. And it puts a warm spot in my heart. And I know that my family is very comfortable and they're a part of this big family. And I think that's really what makes it so special to myself and with many others.
That's great. Thanks, AJ. And actually, your comments are a great segue to our next question. So, Aiden, you've been here for 13 years, and we think you're starting to get a feel for the place, right? I mean, a little bit now. You're finding your way.
Yeah.
But for the three others of you, you've transitioned at different points. So AJ, since you mentioned that you live far away, talk a little bit about what it was like when you came to Boys Latin, and why, given the opportunities to perhaps go somewhere else, you chose to remain here at Boys Latin.
Awesome, definitely. Yeah. So I remember the exact shadow day I took, and right when I walked in, I knew that this was the place I wanted to be at, specifically because of the brotherhood that occurred. I knew that coming from a long distance area, I would be with all my brothers and friends that I want to spend every day with, and so that's really what it came down to, is the brotherhood and how the boys interacted with each other, as well as the teachers and faculty.
Thanks, AJ. How about for you, Vinny? Talk a little bit about your transition here into the upper school.
Coming from a really, big public school up in Northern Carroll County, I'm also about an hour away. The transition was really easy. The community was so welcoming. It was so easy for me to start to fit in. Every school has their little groups of friends, or cliques, as some people call them. But, here, I don't think we have any cliques. You can go in and out of any group you want to. So the transition for me was really easy. It was a really good way to get a fresh start, coming from a system where I had, spent, 6 to 7 years with the same group of people. Being able to come into a new environment and be able to establish myself in the light that I want to be seen in was probably the best thing that ever could have happened to me. And I'm so grateful that I was able to get this opportunity to go here.
Thanks, Vinny. We're grateful that you're here too. Make no mistake. All right, Jonathan, if you can go back to your lower school self, what were some of the things that helped when you came and became part of the Boys Latin community?
For me, similar to AJ, I distinctly remember my shadow day here in 3rd grade, just like it was yesterday. And the thing that really drew me to Boys Latin was, I remember on my shadow day, I was sitting in, I believe it was Miss Young's English class at the time. And we were sitting there and she came over and was like, I'm going to help you through this. This is a really easy assignment. Let's, sit down and talk about it. And, for me being a 3rd grader, that was just really a really welcoming experience, knowing that, this teacher that I've never met before is, willing to sit down with me, and just walk me through an assignment that I've never heard before. And, along with the teacher, a lot of the students and people that were in that classroom also really wanted to see me succeed and help me succeed in the class. So I think that's really what drew me to Boys Latin.
That's great. Thank you. So it's interesting to me. Each of you has said at some point or another that there were people along the way who really helped to make this more than just, my words, go to school. And so, Aiden, I want to go back to a comment that you made at the outset. You talked about a math class that you had in 2nd grade and how that propelled you to the heights that you're at today, or at least set you on that path. Tell us a little bit about the math class that you're in. And I guess more than anything, for each of you, think about what makes for a good teacher. And if you might have an example of who a good teacher might be here at Boys Latin.
So the math course that I'm currently in is AP Statistics and Linear Algebra / Multivariable Calculus. So the great thing about that move up in the course was the fact that I was able to take AP Calculus AB sophomore year, which is really unheard of. But because of the school size, it was a small class. And as a sophomore, I had hands-on learning, and the course I felt very comfortable with. And then junior year, I took BC calculus, and Mr. Sargent was my teacher. He was he also wrote my letter of recommendation for college, and he's been a mentor to me this whole high school experience. I had him freshman year, and he's really helped me with my math career. So
that's great. Thanks, Aiden, and great that you have those relationships formed with Mr. Sargent, and I know with so many others. How about you, AJ? Are there some faculty members who stick out in particular?
It's actually, I think it's a pretty unique experience for myself, because I come from a pretty big public school. In middle school, I had 30 plus kids in one of my classes, so I wasn't really getting the attention I needed, and I couldn't really. I mean, I could ask for help, but they weren't offering it as much. And coming to Boys Latin, the most amount of kids I will have in a class is 14 to 15, and so teachers are giving you that one-on-one attention you need and offering that help up. So it makes it really easy to approach the teachers and go for that extra help, and it makes a world of a difference.
That's great. Thanks, AJ. All right, Vinny, is there a faculty member in particular that sticks out for you?
It's actually pretty funny because these two teachers teach the subjects that I like the least, which is Mr. Barron taught my 9th grade and 11th grade English classes, and Mr. Kennedy taught my 10th grade and 11th grade history classes. I'm more of a math science person, and I've never been too good at English, but coming into my 9th grade year, Mr. Barron, he's so relaxed, so personable. We were able to relate because we like the same music and stuff like that. So to be able to come into his classroom and have that relaxed atmosphere, and for him to teach us some serious building blocks of writing that, I still use to this day. That is a class that I will never forget. And then having him for AP language last year, he taught me so many skills to picking up on rhetoric and stuff like that. And it's not even helped me just with my writing and in the classroom, but I also am a musician outside of school, and it's helped my songwriting too. It's helped my songwriting a ridiculous amount. And then Mr. Kennedy, he made a subject that I thought was boring fun. Just his teaching style in the lecture, and how you can just joke with him, and he just rolls with it. That's something that I will never forget. Having him back-to-back years probably was one of the best experiences I've had at BL. Having that teacher relationship. And I sat down with him, yesterday, and we ate lunch together. And I don't know many other schools that you can say you sat down and had lunch with your teacher, and just had like a normal conversation, without any schoolwork being involved.
That's great. Thanks, Vinny. Now, listen, as an old history teacher, Vinny, I can tell you, like Mr. Kennedy, I believe that history is absolutely fun. So we'll keep working on you this year to, I don't know, maybe turn your head a little bit to that. So we've talked a lot about the experience of being a student, the experience in the classroom, but obviously there's a lot more to life here on Lake Avenue than just what happens in the school environment. So, all right, Mr. President, how are you involved outside the classroom, and what are some things that you particularly enjoy? And I guess, how did the environment here at Boys Latin support you in your finding these different passions?
The opportunity since lower school, has honestly been a door that's honestly just kept opening as I've moved on through lower school to middle school to upper school. Just to speak on my upper school experience a little bit more, starting in 9th grade, a lot of the teachers really encourage you to, try all the things that you want to try. Don't limit yourself to one thing, but just keep your mind and imagination open, because anything you want to do, you can do it here. And that's what's really sparked my love for diversity, equity, and inclusion work. I remember in 9th grade, Ms. Tubman, the head coordinator of our diversity and inclusion efforts, she really encouraged me to join a diversity club meeting. And, I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. And from then on, I just kept going. And then, that door started to appear, that after I started doing diversity club, I really wanted to join the Black Awareness Club. And then after I joined Black Awareness Club, I really wanted to join the Common Ground Club. So, you know, it's really crazy to think how one thing can really lead you to trying so many different things that you wind up really loving in the end. And, you know, I think that's how it all starts in lower school. It all starts in lower school and just kind of works its way up. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
Thanks, Jonathan. And how about for you, Aiden? Is there a time you can think back to in lower school that set you on the course for all your involvements now in the upper school?
Yes, I think that one club at BL that's so special is the Laker Buddies Club. So the Laker Buddies Club matches a high school student with a lower school student. And this high schooler really does anything with this lower schooler. If it's recess, he plays with him. If it's, you know, a study hall period, he'll help him with homework, or maybe he'll read him a book, or just really anything that the lower school wants to do. And for me, this was so impactful because in lower school, he helped me make friends, and it was really nice just having an older brother. I don't have a brother, and he sort of was this older brother who sort of told me his stories from high school and middle school and sort of helped me prepare also. And I think it came full circle when in high school I joined the club, and I sort of just continued this cycle, which I think is really interesting, getting it from both perspectives, excuse me, as a lower schooler and high schooler. For me right now, I play soccer and I'm the president of the One Love Club. And I think that's such a neat opportunity at BL, is that you can be in clubs, sports, and balance academics. And for that, for me, was just really special how I didn't have to give up something for another, and I could do everything I wanted to do. So that for me is what makes BL so special.
Thanks, Aiden. It's been interesting too over my years here to hear stories like the one that Aiden just described, and have alumni come back and see their once young Laker buddies as now fully grown young men, like seniors like you, Aiden. So pretty neat. Okay, Vinny, you teased us a little bit with what it was like for you the fall of your sophomore year, and I know that there's even more to what you do than what you described. Tell us what is it that's so meaningful for you outside of the classroom?
It's the ability to do pretty much everything the school has to offer at the same time. You know, coming in to school, I thought I was only going to do football, and then I got an email for the play, and I figured I did some acting when I was younger. Let's see what I can do now. And I got a supporting role for the first play, but it was like a midterm role, and that kind of just sparked my love for, you know, the theater program here, and I knew it wasn't going to stop. And ever since that play, I've done every fall and spring play that has been available. Multiple times, you know, I'll be running off the sports field. I'll go into the locker room, take a shower, and then I'll come right up into the Sheridan studio for rehearsal. And those are honestly some of the most fun nights I've ever had. You know, the cast around us, you know, it's a great group of guys. And, you know, I wouldn't spend, you know, so many hours after school with any other group. You know, I live an hour away too, so play practice is from 6 to 8. I don't get home until 9 o'clock. You know, for me, honestly, if it wasn't worth it, I wouldn't do it. But it is so worth it that I continually do this, you know, year after year. And on top of the theater program, during the winter, I'm a part of the robotics program. And I joined my sophomore year because I'm interested in engineering and I wanted to see what it was all about. And I honestly had no idea what, you know, the whole robotics thing was all about. But, you know, we went to Worlds that year, and that was some of the most fun I've ever had at this school. The group of guys we had around us, the energy, you know, it's something that I will never, ever forget. So I'm able to do all this type of stuff all at the same time while also taking honors and AP level courses. And I don't think I'd be able to do that in any other school besides BL.
Thanks, Vinny. You know, it's a shame you haven't taken more advantage of the offerings here at Boys Latin. Okay, so all kidding aside, you're all seniors, and Aiden, you and I began the same year 13 years ago. and I've seen each of you grow up here on campus. And though we still have lots of school left, June 5th, 2021 will be here before we know it. And we'll stand out front, and you'll hear from me and you'll receive your diploma. When you think about your time here at Boys Latin, and as you get ready to take the next steps in your educational journeys, what do you think you're going to miss? Vinny, why don't you get us started?
Gotta say, I'm going to miss the community. Just having my brothers around me all the time, it's something really, really special. The relationships I've been able to develop over the years, there's some that I'm never going to forget. It's not even with the students, it's the teachers too. It's just this whole atmosphere we have on Lake Avenue. We're all brothers. We all love each other. We're all here to see each other succeed. I think that's what I'm going to miss the most next year.
Thanks, Vinny. How about you, AJ?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to miss most is just the experience. Just being at a school like this with my best friends that I can truly call family. I really don't want to leave and go to college. I wish I could kind of stay here forever and just enjoy and take it all in. But sometimes everything's got to come to an end. So that's probably what I'm going to miss most.
You can always come back and visit, AJ, and we know that you will. How about you, Aiden?
For me, experience at BL that's been so special is the student sections. And the experience is just unbelievable. From being an athlete or being in the student section, you just get that sense of togetherness and unity. Our school is small, but it's crazy how we'll have bigger student sections than other schools that are much bigger. And it just really shows how people want to support each other, and how I'll have supporters come for my soccer game, and then I'll go support AJ and Vinny at their football game. And I think that experience is just so special, how we bring so much energy and enthusiasm to everything we do.
Thanks, Aiden. I think those two words, energy and enthusiasm, are absolutely appropriate to describe our student body. All right, Jonathan, as you think about taking steps off of Lake Avenue into college and beyond, what is it that you'll miss?
I honestly think I'm going to miss the community. From a place that I've grown up in for so long, I've gotten to know everyone here. I've gotten to create really long-lasting bonds here at BL, and I think I'm honestly going to miss that when I move on to college and beyond. All of my teachers have been so helpful and so supporting of me and all of my decisions and choices that I want to make outside of college. And I know I have so many friends here that I'm definitely going to stay in contact with post BL. And, it's just coming to school every day that I'm going to miss, and just being able to, greet Miss Kimball at the front desk every morning when I walk in the front doors, and just being welcomed in my classes with, huge smiles from the teachers and students that are, in the same class as me. So it's just that warm and welcoming community I'm going to miss, but I always know that I'm always welcome back and always have, a family in and at BL.
Well, and to your point, Jonathan, we like to say that you always have a home here on Lake Avenue. And while we're excited for all that's ahead for you all through the course of 2021, we're even more excited for what the future holds. Thank each of you for joining me for our student panel for our open house. I appreciate your comments, and especially I appreciate all that you do for our school. We'll be heading into some divisional breakout sessions now. You can join our division heads, faculty members, and some of our students in lower school, middle school, or upper school discussion groups. Thanks so much for joining us for our virtual open house, and we look forward to welcoming you here to Boys Latin on Lake Avenue.